Welcome to the deep dive. When an engineer sets out to build something truly magnificent, like, say, the Golden Gate Bridge, they don't just hope for the best.
Right. They start with precise principles.
Exactly. They visualize the ideal and they apply proven methods. What if I told you that your own mind operates in a remarkably similar way?
Hmm.
That there are specific practical methods to govern, control, and, direct your life, just like an engineer governs a building project.
That's a great analogy. And yeah, that's right. This deep dive is all about exploring powerful, practical techniques for mental healing and personal prayer, but through a very scientific sort of lens.
Scientific.
Yeah, we're delving into a realm where nothing truly happens by chance. Every effect has a cause,
Yeah.
and there are definite predictable laws at play.
Okay, so when we talk about scientific here, are we implying a predictable, almost like formulaic approach to these mental processes, much like cause and effect in physics?
Hmm.
How does that predictability, manifest in practice for someone using these techniques?
Oh, it absolutely implies predictability. Just as certain actions lead to predictable outcomes in engineering, specific mental techniques applied consistently, well, they will yield consistent results in your life.
Okay.
It's about understanding the underlying principles that govern thought and manifestation, allowing you, essentially, to replicate success.
Got it. So our mission for you today is to unpack these powerful, specific methods. We're going to dive into how you can tap into your subconscious mind, transforming your thoughts and desires into tangible results.
Whether that's for peace, harmony, health, joy.
Or any other blessing you might be hungering for. So let's get building.
Let's do it.
So let's set the foundation first. Thinking about that engineer again, designing the Golden Gate Bridge. First, they understood mathematical principles, stresses, strains, all that.
Sure. The fundamentals.
Second, they had a crystal clear picture of the ideal bridge in their mind. And third, they applied tried and proven methods to bring that vision to life. This is kind of the blueprint for our deep dive today.
And your mind truly operates in much the same way. There are techniques and methods by which your prayers are answered. It's a scientific process because, like we said, nothing happens by chance in this world of law and order.
Right.
Your thoughts aren't just floating around aimlessly. They're meant to go somewhere and, accomplish something.
And just to be clear, when we talk about prayer here, we're not necessarily focusing on formal religious rituals. This is more about personal prayer, right?
Exactly. That outpouring of your deepest needs and desires. It's that fundamental hunger and thirst for things like peace, harmony, health, joy, that inner yearning for blessings.
Okay, with that foundation laid, let's dive into our first technique. This is like setting the initial crucial anchor points for your mental construction. The passing over technique for impregnating the subconscious. What's the core idea here?
Well, the essence is getting your subconscious mind to sort of take over your conscious request.
Take it over.
Yeah, it's about transferring your desire from your active thinking mind into the deeper, more powerful part of your being, allowing it to take root and grow.
And what's the most effective way to actually do that?
It's usually best accomplished in a reverie-like state. That calm, almost dreamlike period just before sleep, or maybe right when you wake up.
Oh, okay.
In this state, you calmly think over what you want, seeing it as already coming into fruition, knowing that your deeper mind holds this, infinite intelligence and power, ready to bring it forth.
You mentioned our deeper mind holds infinite intelligence and power. Can you maybe unpack that a little for our listeners? Within this scientific context, what does that mean? Is it like an inherent wisdom or?
It's kind of both, actually. Think of it as the universal creative wisdom that governs all life, which is also inherent within each of us. Your subconscious mind is the part of you directly connected to that vast organizing intelligence.
Yeah, okay.
And that makes it incredibly responsive to your deepest convictions.
That story about the little girl and her cough is so striking in the source material. She had a really bad cough and sore throat, apparently.
Yeah.
But she didn't complicate it. She just firmly and repeatedly declared, "It is passing away now. It is passing away now." And her cough passed away in about an hour.
Incredible, isn't it?
What do you think it is about a child's approach that makes this technique so uniquely effective? Is it just the simplicity, or is there more to it?
Well, what's profound there is the complete lack of doubt or resistance that a child often brings. That unwavering childlike simplicity, that's your direct line to the subconscious. Doubt, not complexity, is the real obstacle, you see. It allows the subconscious to accept the suggestion without interference.
Okay, that makes sense. So if the passing over technique is about getting your deep mind to take over a single request, then our next insight, your subconscious will accept. Your blueprint, this seems to expand that idea to like the entirety of your life's design. It's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? Building a house.
It certainly is, yeah. If you were building a home, you'd scrutinize the blueprint, you'd select the best materials.
Yeah.
Your mind operates identically.
Right.
Your thoughts and mental imagery create a mental blueprint for your life. All your experiences, everything, depends on the mental building blocks you use.
So if your blueprint is filled with fear, worry, anxiety, or lack, or if you're just generally despondent and cynical.
Then your life will inevitably reflect those kinds of experiences.
Yeah. But what if you choose to build silently, day by day, with peace, harmony, joy, and goodwill?
Then your subconscious will accept that positive blueprint and bring those blessings to pass. You are literally building your personality, your identity, your entire life story, really every waking hour.
Every hour, wow.
Yeah, through the thoughts you think, the ideas you harbor, the beliefs you accept. This means you're perpetually engaged in constructing your mental home. So you might as well choose the best materials, right?
Absolutely. It's clear that our mental engineer is always at work, whether we realize it or not. So how do we actively build with intention? That leads us nicely to the science and art of true prayer. Now, this might sound a little complex.
It sounds more complex than it is, I think. Yeah, it's quite simple, actually. Science here just means coordinated, arranged knowledge, the principles.
Okay.
And art is your technique or process, how you apply them. So the science and art of true prayer deal with fundamental principles of life and the precise techniques to apply them effectively.
This brings us to a core principle, one found in, well, ancient wisdom. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. This isn't just a hopeful saying, is it? It implies definite mental and spiritual laws.
That's exactly right. There's always a direct response from the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind to your conscious thinking. The key insight here is that your mind moves from the thought to the thing.
From thought to thing.
Yes. You must accept an image in your mind, what the Source calls an unqualified and undisputed state of agreement, before your subconscious can make it productive.
And that acceptance, this unqualified and undisputed state of agreement, it should be accompanied by a feeling, right? A feeling of joy and restfulness.
Exactly.
Almost like you already know it's going to happen. That complete confidence is the sound basis for this art and science.
It's the feeling of it is done before it physically manifests. That's the secret sauce, really.
Okay. Next up, a technique many people are probably somewhat familiar with, yet maybe its power is often underestimated, the visualization technique.
Oh, absolutely. It is. The easiest way to formulate an idea in your mind, to give it form, is to visualize it, to see it vividly in your mind's eye as if it were already real.
Already real.
What you visualize, in a sense, already exists in the invisible realms of your mind.
It's fascinating how this concept links to that idea of a mental picture being the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. What does that specific phrasing really reveal about the inherent power of visualization?
Well, it reveals that the mental image is not merely a wish, it's the actual template for what is to come.
The template, okay.
Yeah, just as a builder visualizes the building, the completed structure, that imagery and thought process become the plastic mold, the form or pattern from which the physical building emerges. Your mental imagery is doing the same thing for your life.
The author of the source material used this technique before speaking engagements, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They would quiet their mind, then picture the entire auditorium filled with radiant, happy, free people, seeing them as illumined and inspired. They'd imagine hearing people say, I am healed, or I feel wonderful. They'd sustain that image for 10 minutes or more, feeling everyone's mind and body saturated with love and perfection. It's a really profound way to apply visualization for a desired outcome, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
It's about creating a living mental scene and, crucially, investing it with feeling.
Yeah.
That influences the collective consciousness in the room towards a positive outcome.
Building on that, we have the mental movie method. There's that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And William James, the father of American psychology, stressed that the subconscious mind will bring to pass any picture held in the mind and backed by faith. This really embodies that phrase, act as though I am and I will be.
This method is incredibly effective because the subconscious responds so powerfully to imagery and, again, that feeling of already possessing what you desire.
Right.
The author shared a story about wanting a permanent location in the Midwest. While in a hotel, they completely relaxed. Imagine talking to a large audience saying, I am glad to be here. I have prayed for the ideal opportunity.
So they played it out in their mind.
Exactly. They saw the audience, felt the reality of it all, played the role of an actor in this internal mental movie.
And the result was?
Just a few days later, they received a telegram offering a lucrative position in the Midwest, which they took and immensely enjoyed for years.
Wow. That's a direct, tangible outcome from a mental movie. It's quite a testament to the power of holding that mental picture.
It truly is. And this technique is also apparently widely used for things like selling property.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, you quiet your mind, relax, get into that drowsy, sleepy state we talked about. Then you picture the check in your hands, you rejoice in it, give thanks for it, and then you go to sleep feeling the naturalness of this whole mental movie.
And the subconscious.
The idea is the subconscious then works behind the scenes to bring the buyer and seller together. It handles the details.
Okay, we've seen how visualization in mental movies harness imagery. But what if we want to impress the subconscious with a specific phrase? This brings us to the Baudoin technique. Named after Charles Baudoin, a psychotherapist from the Rousseau Institute in France around 1910, he had a specific method for this.
Yes. Baudoin taught that the best way to impress the subconscious is in a drowsy, sleepy state, or one very similar to sleep, where all conscious effort is reduced to a minimum.
Minimum effort.
Right. Then, in a quiet, passive, receptive way, you convey the idea through calm reflection.
His formula is quite elegant, isn't it? Condense the idea you want to suggest into a brief, memorable phrase.
And repeat it over and over again as a lullaby. Just gently lull yourself with it.
Like a lullaby. I like that.
And this leads to a powerful example from the source. A young lady in Los Angeles was involved in a really bitter family lawsuit over a will.
Okay.
She condensed her need into just 6 words.
Yeah.
It is finished in divine order.
It is finished in divine order.
Yes. She repeated this phrase every night for about 10 nights in that sleepy state, feeling an inner peace as she did. On the 11th day, her attorney called, said the opposing side was suddenly willing to settle, and a harmonious agreement was reached just like that.
Wow. And this connects beautifully to what the source calls the sleeping connection. Why is this drowsy state so uniquely effective for impressing the subconscious? What's going on there?
Well, it seems the highest degree of subconscious outcropping, that is, when the subconscious's influence becomes most accessible and pronounced, occurs just before sleep and right after we awaken.
Right.
In this state, the negative thoughts and conscious resistances that often, neutralize your desires are significantly reduced or maybe even absent. It's the ideal time to impress the subconscious directly, without interference.
So if you're trying to overcome a destructive habit, for instance, you can get into that sleepy state and repeat a phrase like, I am completely free from this habit. Harmony and peace of mind reigns supreme.
Exactly. This is your lullaby to your subconscious, effectively reprogramming it. The more you repeat it, the greater the emotional value becomes, and the subconscious accepts the idea, leading to these profound internal and sometimes external shifts.
Okay. Our next technique, the thank you technique, is rooted in some ancient wisdom, specifically the biblical teaching to make requests with praise and thanksgiving. It seems to leverage the power of gratitude, fundamentally.
It's incredibly powerful because a thankful heart is always close to the creative forces of the universe. It seemed to set up this reciprocal relationship, causing countless blessings to flow toward you through, the law of action and reaction.
Action and reaction.
Gratitude, in this sense, is an energy that attracts more of what you're grateful for.
There's that analogy in the book about a boy whose father promises him a car for graduation. The boy hasn't received it yet, but he's already incredibly thankful and joyous as if he has it. He knows his father will fulfill the promise. That inner gratitude, even before the physical manifestation, that's key, isn't it?
It's absolutely crucial. It's about embodying the end result. And we have a really compelling story here from the source about a man called Mr. Broke.
Mr. Broke. Apt name, unfortunately.
Yes, well, he was out of work, bills piling up, 3 children, no money. For about 3 weeks, every night and morning, he repeated, "Thank you, Father, for my wealth," in a relaxed, peaceful manner.
He just kept repeating it.
Kept repeating it until the feeling of thankfulness completely dominated his mind. When fear or thoughts of lack crept in, he'd just repeat, "Thank you, Father," as often as needed.
So he was consciously overriding the fear.
Exactly. He knew that maintaining this thankful attitude would recondition his mind to the idea of wealth, shifting his inner state.
And the sequel to his prayer is,
Pretty remarkable. He met a former employer he hadn't seen in 20 years who offered him a lucrative position and even advanced him $500 on the spot.
Wow.
Today, Mr. Broke is apparently a vice president, attributing his success directly to that consistent practice of, "Thank you, Father."
That's a powerful illustration of aligning your emotional state with your desired outcome, truly embodying gratitude for what hasn't yet appeared. Amazing.
He really is.
Now let's turn to the affirmative method. The core principle here seems to be that the effectiveness of an affirmation comes from understanding the truth and meaning behind your words, not just, vain repetition.
Precisely. To affirm is to state that something is so, aligning with what are considered universal principles. Think of it like mathematics. 3 plus 3 is 6, regardless of what's written on a blackboard, right?
Right, it's a truth.
That's a mathematical truth. So if health is the truth of your being, and the source states it is abnormal to be sick and normal to be healthy, then affirming health aligns you with this fundamental truth.
So you're not trying to make something true.
No, you're stating what already is true on a deeper level. This brings us to a crucial insight from the text. The subconscious apparently doesn't process no very well. Denying a negative only affirms its presence.
Oh, interesting. So saying I am not sick still focuses on sickness.
In a way, yes. So true affirmation is about stating what is true, like I am healthy, I am strong, not trying to negate what isn't.
Okay. And this raises an important question. How does this work over distance? The author used this method for their sister in England, who was, 6,500 miles away?
That's right. She was diagnosed with gallstones.
So the author withdrew all thought from the symptoms and just affirmed. This prayer is for my sister Catherine. She is relaxed and at peace. The healing intelligence of her subconscious mind is now transforming every cell, nerve, tissue, muscle, and bone of her being, according to the perfect pattern.
All distorted thought patterns are removed and dissolved. She is peace. He repeated this several times a day.
And the result?
After 2 weeks, an examination showed a remarkable healing, and the x-ray was negative. It really highlights how consistent affirmation, rooted in understanding the truth, can seemingly transcend physical distance.
Remarkable. From the affirmative, we move to the argumentative method. This stems from the work of Dr. Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, who you mentioned was a 19th century pioneer in mental and spiritual healing. He apparently duplicated many biblical healing miracles.
Yes. Quimby's method involves a form of spiritual reasoning. You essentially convince yourself, or a patient if you're working with someone else, that sickness is due to a false belief, a groundless fear, or some kind of distorted thought pattern.
So you're arguing against the illness.
In a sense. The premise is that the subconscious mind created the body and all its organs. Therefore, it intrinsically knows how to heal it.
Okay. So you essentially argue in the courtroom of your mind that disease is just a shadow of the mind based on morbid thought imagery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You build a case, presenting evidence for the inner healing power that created the body in the first place, and then you render a verdict in favor of health.
So it's about liberating yourself or the sick person by confronting and replacing those limiting beliefs with spiritual understanding.
Precisely.
The next technique, the absolute method, is fascinating because it's likened in the source to modern sound wave or sonic therapy. How does that work?
This form of prayer involves quietly and silently contemplating the qualities and attributes of the divine things like bliss, boundless love, infinite intelligence, all-powerful, boundless wisdom, absolute harmony, indescribable beauty.
All these positive qualities.
Yes, while mentally mentioning the patient's name. You feel this infinite ocean of love dissolving anything unlike itself in the mind and body of the person you're praying for.
So it's almost like our focused thought, when it's infused with these divine qualities, creates a kind of resonant frequency that literally shifts conditions. It's a fascinating, almost vibrational understanding of prayer, isn't it?
It is. You're essentially generating spiritual electronic waves of harmony, health, and peace, akin to how certain sound frequencies can, say, break down kidney stones or other deposits. It's about resonance and the dissolution of disharmony.
And Quimby, whom we just discussed, apparently used this absolute method too.
Yes, quite notably, there's a really powerful account in his manuscripts about the healing of a cripple. Quimby diagnosed her condition as stemming from being, in his words, imprisoned by a creed so small and a very literal interpretation of the Bible.
Which led to fear.
Exactly. Fear, a cloudy mind, and ultimately physical paralysis.
Wow. And the aha moment came when she misinterpreted a biblical passage, something about Yet a little while am I with you, and then I go unto him that sent me.
Right. She thought it meant Jesus went to heaven, condemning her to her condition forever.
But Quimby explained it differently.
Yes, he explained that being with her a little while meant his compassion for her symptoms, but he couldn't remain in that mental state of focusing on illness. And go to him that sent us meant to connect to the creative power of the divine within all of us.
So how did he apply the absolute method then?
He then contemplated the divine ideal vitality, intelligence, harmony, power functioning in her. He told her, "Where I go, you cannot come," meaning she was stuck in her narrow, fearful mind, while he was connecting to the universal mind, the absolute.
And she walked without her crutches.
Just like that. Quimby explained that the truth. She accepted the realization that her condition stemmed from her own fear and misinterpretation, not some external curse, acted as a powerful mental breakthrough.
Like it rolled away the stone.
Exactly. It was like a new understanding rolling away the stone of her limitations and beliefs, releasing her body's innate healing power.
What a story. It's a remarkable demonstration of transforming belief into physical reality through an inner shift.
It truly is.
Okay, finally we have the decree method. This technique emphasizes that power goes into your word according to the feeling and faith behind it. But crucially, there should be no mental striving or coercion, just a quiet knowing.
This is so important. You're not trying to add power to power, as the source says. It's about releasing your word with absolute confidence, knowing that the power that moves the world is backing you up, ready to manifest what you declare.
No forcing it.
No forcing. There's a striking example in the source of a young girl who used this to deal with a persistent young man who just wouldn't leave her alone.
Oh, what did she do?
She simply decreed, quietly but firmly, "I release unto God." Using the man's name. He is in his true place at all times. I am free, and he is free. I now decree that my words go forth into infinite mind, and it brings it to pass. It is so.
And what happened?
According to her account, he vanished, and she never saw him again. She felt it was as though the ground swallowed him up.
Wow, which really reinforces that ancient wisdom. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways.
That's from Job, right? That's the one. The power is in the conviction and the release.
Okay, well, we've unpacked a truly fascinating array of practical techniques for mental healing and personal prayer today, all under this scientific framework.
Yeah, it's been quite a tour.
From the profound simplicity of the passing over technique to the transformative impact of the absolute method, we've really seen how your mind is truly a powerful tool. These methods offer a clear pathway to manifesting your desires.
Proving that every effect really does have a cause, and you can consciously influence those causes.
Right. We've explored methods like visualizing your desires, creating mental movies, using the Baudoin technique for subconscious impregnation, harnessing the power of gratitude with the thank you technique,
and understanding the truth in affirmations and decrees. We've also seen the spiritual reasoning behind the argumentative method and the absolute contemplation of the divine. Each one is a specific tool in your mental engineer's toolkit.
So our challenge for you then is to become a mental engineer in your own life. Experiment scientifically, as the source suggests, with these methods.
Prove it to yourself.
Yeah. Prove to yourself the direct response from your subconscious mind to your conscious thinking. Feel the joy and restfulness in foreseeing the certain accomplishment of your desires, knowing that any mental picture you hold is the substance of things hoped for.
And the evidence of things not seen.
So the final question for you to ponder is, what blueprint are you building for your life, and what will you choose to decree into existence today?
Remember, by thinking of the love and glory inherent in the universe, you can generate those spiritual waves of harmony, health, and peace within yourself and potentially your world.